We are midway through May on our COVID-19 shelter in place balcony brew review. Today's date is May 21st of 2020. We seem to be getting closer to the end. Well, at least being able to go outside for a little bit more than a little bit of a walk. But like I said, that's just for right now. Welcome to the Balcony Brew Review. I am Larry Hawley. Paul M. Banks is also joining me. Paul, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm wonderful, man. And we have our first guest. It is Jeremy Ross, reporter from CBS2 Chicago. Jeremy, say hi.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, interwebs.
It's great to have you here. Jeremy, obviously a friend to both of us, and we're glad to have him be our first guest on the podcast. I guess the Corona Chronicles, Paul. I think that's what you named him. So let's enjoy ourselves, guys. What are you drinking tonight? As we start up with Raise the Glass.
I guess guest goes first, as is customary. I'm going with the single barrel bourbon of Four Roses. It's accompanied by a ensemble of some ice cubes. And I'll tell you what, this time of year, while I do prefer this drink normally for the winter, since everything else is upside down, why not?
It's a good thought. I mean, it's not a bad thought. We could all use a bourbon right now. I mean, you need something with a little bit more punch these days. A little bit more punch.
And I will tell you that of all the bourbons, Four Roses really is one of the smoother ones. For those out there who are thinking about maybe dipping a toe into the bourbon pool, Four Roses is the smoothest, in my humble opinion, of a lot of the bourbons out there. So give it a shot if you're interested.
Awesome. Paul, what are you drinking?
Well, Four Roses, that's one of the two distilleries I went to in January.
Outstanding sauce, without question.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It reminds me of Pasadena or something.
Yeah, and again, it's got a nice little sort of hint of spice there, not too spicy, goes down great. And if you drink a lot of it, you can forget you're almost in a pandemic.
For just a little bit.
I will take just a little bit, gentlemen.
Paul, what do you got?
Founders Scotch Ale, Dirty Bastard. Going along with Jeremy's idea of something a little bit stronger. So this is, I believe it's an 8.5 ABV. And I'm also going to have a little American Brown Ale too. So heartier beers tonight.
Nice. Well done. I kind of keep the same thing with mine. I did it for my actual balcony brew review yesterday. It is from two brothers out in Warrenville. It's their 23rd anniversary double IPA. You might see it if you go to my Instagram. It's at lhawley80. It has a red can with the number 23 on it, obviously fitting with The Last Dance. Solid beer, very smooth. It's got some of that usual IPA spice and that fire, with still being able to be pretty drinkable. And it's a 9.0, so it's got some strength to it. It's got some fire to it. It's not going to knock you down, but it's going to knock you at least a bit back on maybe your heels a little bit. Solid beer, though. I really enjoy it. And if you get a chance to check it out, you're a Bulls fan, works out very well. So it's, again, good find. That's a Benny's find, so really happy to be able to get that. Guys, let's move on to That Thing You Brew, movie, song, book, whatever you want to do it. Jeremy, as we've been starting with the guest, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you kind of brought it up just a few minutes ago. I'm going to talk a little bit about The Last Dance, but in a way that literally no one out there on the interweb is really talking about it, and that is this. I'm going to miss The Last Dance on every Sunday, not because of the amazing stories, not because of how awesome Jordan was, or, if you're some of my Detroit friends, sociopathic. I'm going the opposite way. Because I will tell you what, gentlemen, if you ever wanted to go to the grocery store and not have to deal with people, that was the perfect night to do it. Whatever you desired, no people in there whatsoever. Go get your groceries, go get your toilet paper, go get your meats. No one was in there when that Last Dance was on. And so strategically, what I would be doing is when the Last Dance was on, I'd head out to the Jewels, as the kids say.
Oh, yes.
Literally, it was me and another guy in the grocery store.
Good social distancing.
Yeah, it's interesting because, everybody, we do. So I produce the Sunday nights sports at 9 p.m. on WGN.
Oh yeah.
Which pretty much is like, well, what do you want to do? I think one time I even, told Dan, let's replay an old Illini football package or something like that from the 1980s. We can get some Jack Trudeau in there and just, have some fun.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, that it's a phenomenon. I mean, to a point where you were saying that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I had not gone to a store or done anything like that.
No.
I mean, appointment television. It's incredible. Like
and
pandemic.
Everyone was watching. And I just said to myself, I'm like, you know what? Let's just check out the grocery store while everyone's doing this, because the deal is that you had the replay. What is it, like an hour and a half later, something like that?
Indeed.
So I'm no brain surgeon, and I certainly am not joining any Mensa club anytime soon. But I was just like, you know what? Maybe we keep this up. Go grocery shopping, no lines, no people whatsoever. Get your meal, head on back to the homestead. Then you watch the replay, you have the food, didn't deal with anyone, and you got to watch The Last Dance.
That's good strategy, man. That's good strategy. I appreciate that. So because I was working, I checked out the replay. So I called us the Lake Crew. So you joined the Lake Crew. Congratulations.
Yes.
So the Lake Crew got it done, and phenomenal Last Dance. I really enjoyed it. Paul, Jeremy, what did you think of it?
Paulie, what about you?
Well, I watched it on DVR, and I'm sorry, I just think it was really overrated.
I mean, it's a thought. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. So I watched tons of that stuff, and there's a lot there that you knew about. Jordan Rides the Bus took care of a lot of the tidbits that you heard that went through there, especially with the retirement. Mm-hmm. There were subtle things that I really enjoyed about the show, learning about the security guard that Jordan that had cancer and that came back. I believe he got the game ball from the Pacers game 7, if I'm not mistaken. There were little things here and there. There were premises you kind of knew about, you kind of understood, but I still think it did the job. I don't think it was overrated. It was solid.
Well, here's the thing though. Even if you had an independent person producing it, somebody that wasn't affiliated with Jumpman 23, who wasn't under editorial control, I really don't think there's a lot more to Jordan than what we saw. I really think this is who he is, just single-minded ambition, insanely competitive, and a very tough love, Bob Knight, Tom Izzo kind of, let's just say, extremely harsh leadership style.
I'm gonna throw out this name. Tell me if I'm totally crazy. Did he remind you a little bit at times of The Simpsons' Mr. Burns, except with athleticism?
Well, Mr. Burns made a movie about himself, so so did Michael Jordan.
Well, Mr. Burns is quite bitter. And Jordan seems to be bitter, and there really isn't. I think what he was is he took everything to heart. I get that. I take a lot of things to heart. He took everything to heart. So if like simple, silly things, he would take to heart. Like it really, really hurt him. And it got to the point where his competitive drive was so much, he'd start making up stuff. They disputed the Carl meeting. So I think those things, you saw an imperfect.
Sorry, the cat acting up.
Uh-oh.
No problem.
Yeah, maybe my comparison should have been more Quentin Tarantino, like Kill Bill.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like I guess I think one of the characters in Kill Bill was actually Black Mamba, obviously taken by Kobe. But I guess if you had to give him like a code name, he almost belonged in that movie more so because of his he loved vengeance. He loved revenge. That was a driver.
That's a good one. I think that was, and it stayed through his whole career. Like it never really ever went away. Like, and that's what's odd, is that he was so good and it just never ever went away. And his grudges never ever went away. I mean, his Hall of Fame speech proved that.
Yes.
That's another thing. Like you think about that, the Hall of Fame speech proved that absolutely.
But is that ultra competitive, sociopathic, or maybe combination thereof?
It's a combination. It's all together, man. It's all one
fine line.
Circle of funness and
would he
insanity.
Would he go after the valet that parked his car too close to another?
Some people need competition, man. Some people need whatever, race to the water fountain,
Would
Race to the coffee machine.
for
Who
me,
knows?
for me, and I think a lot of other people, the one thing that I think that we also enjoyed, because we knew a lot of the subtext going into some of the episodes, was it was like, I don't even know, it was almost like silk on the ears to hear Michael Jordan curse.
It was fantastic.
Wasn't
It
it?
was great.
Absolutely.
It's great to hear that. I think the Ron Harper line might have even been my favorite one of the whole thing. First of all, Lenny Wilkens is a really good coach. Why was Ron Harper not on Jordan? That I don't understand. Lenny
True.
was a great coach.
True.
He must have just freaked out for that one moment. I don't blame Harper for saying that.
And I'm also going to rewind here, because I think that all of us grew up, at least as young teenagers during that point in time. The Cleveland Cavaliers were a heck of a team. By the way, Craig Elo was a pretty decent player. So even though you did have Elo on Jordan, when I take a look at that play again, it's not like he was 20 feet away.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, not at all. Actually, it's funny you mention that because in the 1993 playoffs, so this would have been a little bit different, but it was at Richfield Coliseum, Game 4 of the second round. Jordan hit the series winner over Elo again, and Elo looked completely flabbergasted.
Oh, yeah.
If you go back in the highlights, it's kind of funny to watch.
He's like, oh, God, not again.
No, I mean, now that was different. You
Right.
make a great point about the Cavaliers. They were either, I have to look back, I think they were a 3 seed, a 2 or a 3. I have to look back and see. They had a really good team, and they had some people picking them the next year to actually win the championship.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they had their run of being very, very good.
If memory serves me correctly, Hot Rod Williams, Larry Nance, you had Elo and Harper, and the amazing right.
Yeah.
Brad Daugherty, and I mean, granted, who I guess is more of a NASCAR guy than an NBA guy right now, but I mean, that's an incredible assembly of talent.
It is.
When you look back at that level of competition. It's not like he buried that shot over a bunch of scrubs.
No. That would be its own interesting kind of story as those Cavalier teams, because they were the great hope there. They played out in Richfield, which was in the middle of nowhere. That was a good team. And actually the Bulls beat them the year before in 5 games. That was the series that won 5 games in the first round. That was the first Jordan playoff series win. So Jordan just terrorized them for years.
Oh, yeah.
Years and years and years and years.
But
hearing incredible.
But hearing Michael Jordan curse, of course, if you didn't watch, the ESPN2 broadcast, if you heard Michael Jordan curse, to me, what was so amazing about that is all of us growing up and from the other part of the camera, seeing him as this perfect corporate representative and then realizing that he was indeed human was actually kind of cool to watch. That sort of behind the scenes of he's a real person. It was amazing.
Paul, what do you think?
Well, I think that's why I don't find him to be that interesting, because I'm so impressed by the fact that he was swearing. And that's what made him so marketable, because he was perfect to be a corporate spokesperson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Paul, I think you got a little bit of an echo on your end. So
yeah, I'm trying to figure something.
No big deal. I think the whole point of the thing was that Jordan was human. I think that's the whole point I think if that's the one takeaway I have is Jordan was human.
And now we get word that the same sort of treatment, although I doubt it'll be the same treatment, will be used in a Tom Brady docuseries. And I'm very curious how that's going to go because, although although I attended school with Tom Brady, which dates me, I will tell you that at least the Tom Brady on the pro side, very regimented, very, I don't want to say against the media, but media did not really have a lot of great access with him. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to go.
I don't know. I mean, I watched Tom versus Time, and he was very good in that. I thought he was actually relatively candid in that. That would be the Facebook series that would have gone on and taken place basically during the run-up to Super Bowl 51, I believe. Or 52. There we go. 52. Run up to the one they lost to the Eagles. I'm curious, man. And, it's funny because I remember when Illinois had to face Brady in 1999. And I said, thank God they don't have to face Drew Henson because Drew Henson was a running quarterback and they couldn't stop a running quarterback at all. Isn't it funny how that works out? Like,
yeah.
Incredible.
And I think Hetson also had some sort of contract with the New York Yankees.
He did.
Yeah, it must not have been a terrible thing to, be a college kid as a quarterback for a major college team and be able to fall back on pro baseball.
It's fantastic. Can you imagine having that?
Oh,
Beautiful. Elway had it. John Elway.
Yeah, that's true. Although Elway's probably made out pretty well.
Russell Wilson.
I'm sorry?
Russell Wilson had a baseball.
Yeah,
it's true.
He was an Asheville tourist, actually. That's where I used to work. So he was at the tourist for, I think, one season, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. And Pat Mahomes was drafted by the Detroit Tigers, if I remember correctly.
And not the Bears.
There you go. Well,
Russell, Deshaun Watson, for the record, is the one in my mind that got away, but we digress. Paul, what do you have for that thing you brew?
I'm going to talk about the worst movie ever made.
Okay.
This is coming from somebody who's seen Dude, Where's My Car, Tammy and the T-Rex, Howard the Duck. I'm going to go with Jaws 4: The Revenge.
Wow. Speaking of revenge.
Yeah, it continues the theme. Now, are either of you familiar with the plot? Have you seen it?
Wait, say that again?
Are you still picking up the echo?
I am.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, doesn't seem to be as bad as before, which is good.
That's good.
I see. Either of you seen it, or do you know the premise?
I don't think I've seen it.
No.
All right. The premise itself is the shark. We don't know why. We don't know the shark if it's the offspring of the sharks that were killed in the first 3 movies. But the shark goes to Massachusetts to murder, like literally murder, Sheriff Brody's son. So for some reason, the shark has become sentient enough that it can commit homicide and it holds a grudge. And that, after the shark kills his son, it somehow is aware that they left Massachusetts, they went to the Bahamas, and it is able to catch up to them. When they went by plane, it swam there, and it knows that it's there. Then you have Mario Van Peebles, a great actor, doing this terrible Jamaican accent. It's basically like Jar Jar Binks 12 years before Jar Jar Binks came along. And so the premise itself is beyond stupid. The mom is somehow able to have premonitions or foresee when her family members are being attacked by the shark. And all I can say is Michael Caine had this famous quote where he said, "I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's terrible, but the house that we buy is not terrible." And it did make money. It made a pretty big profit, but everybody seems to agree with me that it's not fun bad. It's not like laughably bad. It's just bad all around.
So it's not Manos, the Hands of Fate, then, from Mystery Science Theater 3000 lore. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
Of course.
That's it. That is just the Haunting Torgo theme. I've used that in the story, by the way. So.
Oh, classic.
The master will see you now. The master.
Yeah. By the way, kudos for a Mario Van Peebles reference.
I know. Good for you. And not outside of Solo.
New Jack City is how I know it.
Wow.
That's very impressive.
One. I like that. So it's kind of like, it seems like it's like a combination of Sharknado and Tremors.
Wow.
You know, if you've seen Tremors, where they kind of rise out of the ground and follow them wherever they may go, and yeah. So
well,
that's,
Deep Blue Sea was a terrible movie too, and if on its face you could say Deep Blue Sea was Jurassic Park meets Jaws, but I walked out of that one, and Jaws 4 I just couldn't finish.
In the continuum that is shark movies, where does the Meg fit in there?
That one I thought was kind of fun bad. If you want to like turn your brain off, like if you want to have a lot of bourbon that's really strong and kind of let the effects do its thing, it's all right.
Okay.
maybe.
I have never seen that.
You know what? You and most other people with
Yeah.
taste. I could never see that movie, and the reason why is every time someone mentions the Meg, I only think of Family Guy.
Meg. Meg.
Exactly. Who would title a movie like that?
I don't know.
That, that sounds like it would be somebody who was trying to make a movie about a Karen, but got the name wrong, and they thought a Karen was a Meg, so that's what they did.
I can see the production meeting right now. We need a short title. How about The? Nah, too short. It's supposed to be the Mega Shark. Let's just call it the Meg. Oh, fantastic! Print it. We'll print money.
Now I might have to check this out because I like a good bad movie.
Yeah, I can guarantee you'll never get the 2 hours of your life back.
No.
But I will tell you that on occasion I will go to some of the Chicago Comic-Cons. And by the way, if you ever have an opportunity to go after the pandemic, if that's a thing that exists, I will tell everyone out there that that is the best people watching in or around the city of Chicago you will ever see sober. It is amazing. Do yourself a favor, go. One of the people who I bumped into there was just wearing a shark outfit, and I had no idea what was going on there. And all of a sudden, he hits a profile, like he turns to the left, and he just has a picture of Meg from, Family Guy on there. And I just ran up to him, I'm like, "You're the Meg!" He's like, "Yes!" That was amazing.
Well done. I've got to go to a Comic-Con at some point. Paul, have you been?
It's so worth it.
I haven't. I've seen Jeremy's Instagram feed, so I definitely want to. But do you ever? I honestly, even though Meg doesn't exist, I felt bad they treated her so terrible on Family Guy.
Mila Kunis is made out pretty well, so just think about that.
Yeah,
Meg takes it all there. She takes all the brunt of everything. She's like their foil. I don't know if that's the right word or not. I don't know if that's the correct. She's whatever it is. I think they even had a Meg
boy. The best joke they ever did was the one about the going back, the girl from Party of Five, who was in Mean Girls, did the voice originally. And they said a joke like, "Wow, it sounds like somebody's about to make a terrible career move."
Yeah.
And it's true, because I honestly, Lacey Chabert, Lacey Chabert, whatever, that's her name.
Oh, yeah, I know her, yeah.
Yes, she's the verbal equivalent of Kenny from South Park.
South Park. I've watched so much of that during the pandemic.
Ah, good move.
It's fantastic.
Very good move.
Yep. Guys, that thing you brew this week for me, I have a book I'm about to read. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Yes.
The counterintuitive approach to living a good life by Mark Manson. It claims to have sold over 1 million copies. I think I bought this copy about a year ago and I haven't read it. So I'm about to read it. So I'm really excited. By the end of it, will I have the subtle art of not giving an F?
Very nice.
I'm very curious. Have you guys read it?
I have only heard good things.
Really?
Same. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've tried to take things a little less seriously during the pandemic as I've tried to reflect on, myself. And it looks like it's about 200 pages, relatively big print, so it should take a couple of days or maybe one really inspired night of super writing. But I'm curious. In the question I have, guys, and kind of why I bring this up. Have you had a book that's had a profound impact on you that you read it, maybe didn't know it, and you're like, wow, I actually think of things a little differently?
You kind of described like an Oprah moment there.
It is an Oprah. I'm looking for an Oprah moment.
There you go. I think we're all looking for an Oprah moment. I really haven't had that really per se, but because I'm not into these self-improvement books. I tend to watch a little bit more Fight Club than I probably should. But I will tell you that I am jealous of anyone who gets there.
I would say that the book I just finished reading, the one I talked about on our last episode or a couple episodes ago, I wouldn't say it's an epiphany. I would say it's a good life lesson. It's a good tip. It was eye-opening, and that sucked about The Facebook Catastrophe by Roger McNamee about social media and everything. Towards the end, he says, I mean, okay, we know that social media is a fake world, and it's a curated world and whatever, but he takes it a step further where he says when you go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, and he stresses the point of Google that just think of it as losing yourself in a book or a movie, and what you're seeing is based on a true story. And if you approach your daily life that way, in terms of how you interact with these mediums and these platforms, to me that is, yes, very much so.
That's a good one. Yeah, because I remember you bringing that up, Paul. Yeah, I remember you bringing that up last week. I've always thought that these self-help books are kind of like Fulton Reed from Mighty Ducks' Slapshot. When he was, firing all those shots around, and Gordon Bombay goes, well, you got a lot of speed, but you ever hit the net? He goes, sure, 1 out of 5. That's kind of how I think of it. I think it probably successful one of these books probably hits 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 8.
Yeah.
So what the heck? I picked it up for what? I don't know. It couldn't have been that much money. I think it was on sale. Give it a try. We'll see if I can figure out the subtle art of not giving an F. Maybe we will.
I think it's important. I will tell you that in terms of life-opening experiences, while not directly from a book, I will tell you that I have a new appreciation for restaurants this past week in particular, and not for the curbside pickup or lack thereof. But I will tell you that, on occasion, since it's one of the few things we still can do, I have gone on a night run. And, I ate dinner a little bit early one night and decided that I would, head on out and do hopefully about a 4.5 mile run. Great exercise. I'm wearing a mask, everything like that. And about midway through, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, my goodness, I think I've suffered food poisoning.
Oh.
And at 9 o'clock at night, there was a time where you'd run by a restaurant, you'd ask politely, and they'd let you in the bathroom. Not anymore, kids. I will tell you, the run home was quick, fierce, successful, thank you. But
well done.
Oh man, when I reiterate the phrase intestinal fortitude to make it back, it brought up a new meaning for that. So I have a new, deep, and I guess rich appreciation for restaurants that will hopefully be open sooner rather than later.
It's too bad he didn't you didn't have a Walgreens on the way, did you? I had a similar incident, and I was saved by a Walgreens.
Oh man, you know what? I didn't think of that, but I don't think that there was one around, or at least one of the 24-hour sort of convenience stores that might have been around. But
all bathrooms are closed.
I was just gonna say, we take for granted, that there are these establishments late at night where if you want to walk on in, and buy something, or in this particular case, use a restroom, all of a sudden that's been taken away.
And it's going, when they'll come back, who knows?
Exactly. Hopefully soon.
We shall see.
Hopefully soon.
All right, guys, let's bring out the random stuff. Let's go Island of Misfit Toys. Jeremy, what randomly is on your mind today?
Let me tell you something. I think we're all looking to be saved from the boredom, from the malaise, from the anxiety of the pandemic. And I will tell you, dogs are here to save us all. I do not own a dog. One day I hope to own a dog. But I will tell you on social media, whenever I feel down, just queue up a few Twitter accounts of my favorite dog accounts, and it is like instant internet Prozac. Dogs are here to save us all, folks, and I appreciate it. Cheers and a toast to anyone who keeps a specific dog account. I love you. I appreciate you. Please keep it up and more of it.
Paul, respond. I'm curious as a cat man with a thriving Instagram cat account.
Oh, I like dogs, just not as much. I mean, I like all animal accounts, and there's love for animals, but cats come first.
What do you think of that, Jeremy? I mean, are you dogs all the way? Can you accept a cat account?
I'll tell you what, if it's an adorable cat, bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I am not completely anti-cat. I will tell you that I have seen, a few more cat attacking videos than certainly dog ones. So there's that. But I am not vehemently a cat hater. I am a deep dish hater, but that's for another show. I am not vehemently.
Dear.
I know. I don't want to break open that can of.
No, it's not a can of worms. Some people
No,
like it, you
I'm
don't.
with you, man. Like deep dish is I only eat it when people come in from out of town.
I
Yeah,
refer to it as tourist pie.
That's a good way to do it. I probably get 3 deep dish pizzas a year.
There you go.
I actually thought about it. Somebody said about 3 a year.
Yep. Send your hate tweets to @JeremyAdamRoss.
No,
So,
you know what it always reminds me of, and you guys will appreciate this, and I think Paul and I have talked about this on a previous Balcony Brew review. There's a great South Park episode about, I think it's called The Quest for Ratings. And in there, all the South Park, the main kids all wear anchor hair, and they try to do super sexy action school news, and they keep losing to Craig's dog videos. Like,
Yeah.
not only lose to them, but continue to get crushed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you know what? It still remains the case. Still remains the same.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, did you guys see the blurb about, what is it? I totally forgot the title of it, but it was the guy from The Office who does like always, the good news report or whatever it is.
Oh God, I'm trying
Do you know?
to remember.
Yeah, I know. We're all blanking.
I haven't watched a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen a portion of an episode. Yeah, that series was just bought by CBS. Okay, so maybe there's something to, sometimes we just all need some cute, wonderful adorableness, and, just have that available.
And there's nothing better than it either. It's just perfect. We need happiness. Instagram
Exactly.
usually does that well.
There you go.
Paul, give me your random thought.
I'm glad you said happiness because I want to talk about something that made me really happy. Just very proud to have achieved something the last couple of weeks. And that is the kid at State University, New York, Oniana. He's in the wrestling team there. He found me on Instagram. He was doing a book report on my book. And with all the delays in delivery, it didn't come in time. So I'm like, yeah, just email me your question. I'll take care of it. And so at first I was like, wow, this is really cool that someone did a book report on me. And then later I asked him, how did you discover it? And it turns out it's actually a textbook in a sports and media course.
Wow.
Nice. Well
That is
done.
awesome. That is awesome.
So he found you randomly out of nowhere. So this is just discovered the book.
No, I emailed the professor. She has not gotten back to me as of yet. And I asked her why. I just wanted to see the syllabus and kind of go from there. He told me that they had a choice of about 4 or 5 books. It's a 200 level journalism class, sports and media, and those guys have all the fun about ESPN is one. There's best sports writing of the year anthology. There's another book about ESPN, and he chose mine. And I said, did you ever see the 1988 film Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield? Because his kid says to him, you send our astronomy homework to NASA, and you haven't even started your book report on Slaughterhouse-5. What are you going to do? So then he opens the door, and he's like, hi, I'm Kurt Vonnegut.
I thought you were going triple Lindy on us, but that's pretty good too.
And then the professor's like, I don't know who wrote this book report of yours. All I know is you didn't, and whoever wrote it doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut.
Kurt Vonnegut, he's an
He
Indian.
get back to me, and he got an A on the book report.
Oh,
Well.
that's amazing.
Well
That
done,
would have
sir.
really, really funny if he got a good grade when I voted for him.
Oh,
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, things are so bad, and we don't. I know we've said this on past episodes, where sometimes we look to the past because the present is so dull and tedious, and the future is so uncertain. So, anything that's positive and good, you got to play it up as much as possible right now.
Yeah. Hey, take it, man. Congrats. I mean, you can put that on the life resume gets something in the pandemic. I mean, you got to give yourself credit for that. A book report was made about your book. You can fly the W, take a sip of bourbon, beer, whatever you want to do. You should celebrate.
I think I will have some bourbon, yeah.
So my random thing this week is because of all that, Paul, you touched on it a little bit. I'm somebody who is forcing myself to look to the future, and we have no choice but now to look to the past. The Last Dance did that. Almost everything's all about the past. We're actually going to have more of the past because now they're going to do the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire thing coming up here in almost about a month from almost right about today. I think it's the 21st that they're going to go ahead and do the Long Gone Summer about Sosa McGwire. And it gets me to thinking, what is the pandemic film going to look like 20 years from now? What is it going to look like? What is it going to say about our society? What is it going to say about like us? Like, are we going to be the new generation of heroes who are saluted for just staying inside? Will we be criticized for not doing more? What will this video look like when we're 60?
Allow me to insert some Michael Jordan-esque comments in what you're talking about right now. I would, if at all possible, immediately exact revenge and vengeance on anyone hoarding toilet paper.
Ooh, that's a good
one. Oh, my goodness. I feel like there's like a Terminator movie in the making where we go back to the past, a.k.a. right now in the pandemic, and you end up brutally hurting those who are responsible for that. I would get to see that movie.
I can see it right now.
Vengeance. I could get behind that vengeance.
So you show up with the guy with the giant truck full of Lysol that he basically went to Costco and cleaned them out, and you're like, you are targeted for termination, or I don't know, what would be more creative, or disinfectation or whatever.
I like it. I like that angle. I can that with it.
That'd be good. So the Terminator, like, how does somebody, like, I'm trying to think, like, so somebody has to make the Terminator. So the theory is we get out of this.
Yes.
3 or 4 years down the road, somebody makes the Terminator.
Yes.
Is this an Elon Musk thing, or, I mean, is this the next?
To specifically hunt down the hoarders who are terrible people.
Yes.
There you go. Now that we're out of that stage and you can actually go to a supermarket and actually find toilet paper, I can honestly say out loud, like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking?
I don't understand. I never got that. I never understood why people had to buy a ton of toilet paper.
No.
I don't know. An article about some type of connection to the size of it. People feel if it's the largest item in your cart, so therefore it's more important.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. I mean, a run on Lysol, I get that. That makes complete sense. Absolutely.
Fair enough.
But the toilet paper, I don't know. I don't get it.
You would even think that people would be like, whoa, there's a pandemic. Let's just buy up all the beer. That I could appreciate.
I would. That's what I thought. I thought I'd go into liquor departments, and most of the times they're always full.
No.
All the time, like thinking they're
Yeah.
there. I'm like,
no. Yes. And oh, by the way, the what is it? The seltzer with the vodka. I forget exactly.
Yes.
Yes, like that run where there was supposed to be some sort of lack of supply. That never happened.
No.
Still laugh about that. Oh yes, I'm sorry. The great White Claw shortage of 2019/2020. Oh, that thing that never happened.
Like, what role is White Claw going to play in that movie? White Claw's got to play a role in that movie. White Claw saved the millennials. Like, what if White Claw is the cure? What if White Claw is the cure?
Yes. Then we're all in trouble.
I mean, what if White Claw is the cure? I mean,
I
saw there was a millennial Mariano's. There was a millennial Mariano's, no mask, no nothing. Two things are truly and just going about her way. Like, what if Truly's the cure? Like,
and then
I'm going to use this time to announce the fact that my hard seltzer phase is now over.
Mm-hmm. Then you had the video of the beach that was opening up and the idiots dancing, and of course the one woman saying, what is it? It's all gravy, baby. And the first thing I noticed about that video is it was a case of Masks 0, Gravy 1.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Yeah.
That could be a good line for the movie. I
Yes.
like that. That'd be a good opening line.
There you go.
I
Masks
might
0,
actually keep that.
Gravy 1.
Well, we have all the. At first, they didn't listen to the scientists, and then it cuts away to the St. Patrick's Day revelers, and they continued about their ways despite the warning.
Man, I will tell you what, I actually had to work that day, and I was just walking around just shaking my head.
Yep.
Like I didn't have enough face palms in my arsenal for that day.
And they were all
Which is
really
good,
full.
you're not supposed to touch your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember walking because I actually put on my like St. Patrick's Day shirt. I'm like, I just want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, maybe there'll be a few people out. It was jammed. I basically made the left turn, went to
Oh, yeah.
Jewel, and went home. I bought some dye and made my own little green beer out of an old style, and it was tremendous. Actually, it was tremendous.
Good.
I think I watched like an American Pie movie or something like that night. That's kind of my St. Patrick's Day 2020.
The Dropkick Murphys live stream was good.
That was awesome. That was actually the best thing. That was actually a lot of fun. That was wonderful. That was a great concert. That was really cool. That's probably one of my favorite moments of this whole, bullshit, is probably the Dropkick Murphys. That was really cool. I love that. That was also really early, so it wasn't like, people were doing concerts. I think they were one of the first to do it. At that point, I know Nashville still had some concerts through that week. I think some of the bars didn't close yet.
Yeah.
So I think they still had a couple of things going on. But that was one of the first online concerts, and it was great. Like they did the Quarantine 15 joke, which I thought was hilarious. Like it was a good spirit. We kind of all needed it. They did a really nice job with it. I give them a lot of credit for it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
And I think when we look back on this time period, it's funny how really St. Patrick's Day might frame both the very beginning and hopefully the end. I'm very curious to see, when the end occurs and what that will be like. It's probably going to be phased in, and ultimately, the end, quote unquote, starts with who gets vaccines, and hopefully we get vaccines. But of course, when the vaccine starts, that's when you could start saying, quote unquote, the end. I'm very curious what will frame the end, because the beginning, I think it's fair to say, was St. Patrick's Day, because that's when everything started to come to a head, which was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing when you think about it. And being in Chicago, one of the epicenters for that sort of partying and reveling was surreal.
Yeah, and that's going to be weird. Paul and I have told this on here before. We taped.
Yeah.
Well, it's 3/11. That's how I've referred to it, as 3/11. The day that Hanks gets it, they shut the NBA down.
Yep.
All the sports leagues in the NCAA tournament were closed in 18 hours.
Yep.
And then everything starts shutting down after that, and that was it. I remember walking by. It was actually St. Patrick's Day when they closed the gym that was near me, and all the people leaving because I think they had announced it was going to close in like 2.5 hours, and that was it. 6 days you go from open to shut. That's fast. We shall see.
Yeah.
Guys, we've reached the time of one last sip, one last thought for this episode. Jeremy, beginning with you. What's on your mind as we close this out?
When we start to look for ways to fill the entertainment void, in addition to dogs, one of the things that my friends, close family, and not so close friends have been doing is we've been setting up Zoom conference calls. Nice. And the criteria with the Zoom conference call is you have to own a dog. And so what we have been doing slowly but surely is inviting people from across the world. We had a friend from Taiwan. We had friends from California, friends from New York State, all joining in the Zoom call. And it's been nothing short of outstanding. I guess some of the best parts involve just asking people what their life is like, how things are going, and then figuring out what dog is humping what inanimate object on a conference call of 50 or about 40, 50 people at the same time. So it's been a lot of fun, including strangers in some cases. And I highly recommend for those folks out there, lonely or otherwise, when you start doing that, while it does take a little bit of time and effort, it has paid off. And it's just been a nice, wonderful laugh and a nice way to exercise your brain and your mental state. And I highly recommend it going forward.
Awesome, man. Paul, what do you got?
Well, I went up and got my Four Roses bourbon glass for you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Yeah, beer.
And before we go, I wanted to say congratulations on the Sticker Award from the headline.
Yeah, congrats, man.
I appreciate it. I slept with all the judges, so there's that.
So for my one last tip, I know you guys see this all the time on Twitter where it's quote tweet with this or answer this with XYZ. The one I've started to see a lot of is tell us about your most random celebrity encounter. And these are really short, all three of them, so I'll just cover the three that I can think of. One was seeing Hamilton here with the practice run, like a couple nights before it opened. They were kind of working out the kinks. The guy who pays Mayhem in the Allstate commercials was in the foyer with me, and I took a picture with him.
No way.
Nice.
Who was also in John Wick.
Yeah. What else? I know it was Liz Lemon's boyfriend on 30 Rock.
Yep.
I don't know his real name.
Yeah, I got his ass kicked on John Wick, by the way.
Everybody does.
I know.
That's part of the fun.
Shocker.
Second one would be beginning of, I think it was my sophomore year. I was at UI, and Method Man was wearing an Illini football jersey and an Illini hat. Same outfit he would wear the MTV VMAs on a week after this happened. Wu-Tang Clan Rage Against the Machine. This was the year that I worked backstage security, and I ran to that night. And he run the kind of show of very active, going all over the place. And I ended up in Method Man's spotlight on the stage for a fair amount of time because for some reason he kept going over on my rant, settling there.
Cool.
Nice.
And then the third one was I went to go see Naomi Klein speak at Northwestern, the city campus downtown. And when I went to pick up my ticket, and like, what's your name? And the guy who told me to pick it up was Bill Ayers of the Weathermen.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
And this was right around the election season, so this was right around that time when he had that resurgence in popularity because Fox was talking about him all the time. So those are my three random celebrity encounters.
Oh, well done, Paul. No, it's awesome. I guess for mine is the appreciation, and this goes back to Jeremy, we were talking about the appreciation of the little thing. This week I was able to get my car back for a little bit, and I was able to drive around. And it's the most peaceful it's ever been to drive around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it silly how like the smallest things, going for a walk, taking a drive, like I'll always appreciate these like 5 times more than I did before. I was just thinking about that today. Like I really just enjoyed to just drive a little bit, drive to the store, drive by what would have been the workout place that would have been open, drive to the Whole Foods. Not as good as South Park's, but what can you do? It's amazing, but it is amazing the little things you appreciate. Taking walks to the store, being able to be outside and sit for more than an hour and not have to worry about it. It's amazing. Like you're always said, people always tell you appreciate the little things. You kind of blow it off because you're kind of thinking, I haven't reached that, whatever mindfulness state yet. But it's really true. Like you really do appreciate the little things. Walking to the store, walking through the store, getting stuff at the store, taking a small drive, getting out and going to a restaurant eventually. They're all small things. This will be a time, I think, because it's such a jolt, you will not take the things for granted. I think I might not. Like, it's incredible. All these little things bring so little, just a little bit of joy. Going to get a coffee. The trips to Dunkin' have been like adventures now. Like, it's incredible. The little things, guys. It's the little things. It's incredible. It's the little things.
I completely agree with you 100%, and I'll have something along those lines once we're done recording the raw pod. I think about that.
No, it's wonderful.
Yep.
Well, guys, wonderful episode. Jeremy, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back. It's a wonderful. Paul, as always, thank you. Tell Otis I say hello.
Yeah, he has to go in the corner now. He was pretty active before. You know, the last time all three of us were together was at that party in February.
The country club.
There you go.
When
that's how long it's been, and just think we there was a buffet there with no sneeze guards, and there was close up body and body dancing and crowds, and wow.
Yep. Things that are illegal now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been a while. It'll happen again, guys. It might just be a bit.
Yeah.
So for Jeremy, Paul, I'm Larry Hawley. Thank you so much for turning into the Balcony Brew Review as our Corona Chronicles continue. As I sign off every time, stay well, stay healthy, stay positive. Stay at home when you can. Hopefully it won't be much longer. Have a wonderful day, and cheers.